My name is Justin Gelski, and I'm the marketing coordinator here at Telos Alliance, and your behind the sound interview host. And today we're joined by Rares Paunescu. Rares, thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Justin. Thank you very much for the invitation.
So, Rares, you have a really interesting story because you built your own home studio at just 19 years old, which is pretty unheard of. So, how old were you when you first decided that you wanted to build your own studio, and what sparked that interest?
Everything started when I was 11 and my father took me to his workplace in Bucharest. It was a national radio station broadcasting across Romania, and there I saw for the first time in my life an Axia Element console. You know, my mother told me once that when I do or see something for the first time in my life, I should make a wish. So I saw that Axia Element, I started playing with it, and I made my wish to be able to earn enough money when I grow up to buy an Axia Element console all for myself. I had visited other radio studios before, so that one wasn't the first, but that Axia Element console there caught my eyes. Of course, I didn't know when my dream will become reality, but when I got to UK to start my first year at university, and a lot of job opportunities appeared. I was 19 at that time, and I remember one day some of my colleagues advised me to apply for a job at McDonald's. The place was really close to our university, and I did it. I was accepted, and this is how I started to earn my money. No one knew how hard it was saving to build my own studio. I kept it a secret. At first, I couldn't imagine that I would be able to buy additional gear like the Omnia 6 and Omnia 3, but when I saw I can do that, I took my dream to the next level because buying an Omnia 6 processor was also part of my dream, and Omnia 3 was very welcome in my collection.
Fun fact, Rares, your father purchased the very first Omnia broadcast processor in Romania back in the 2000s for a radio station called Radio Dea. So is it fair to say that your father not only helped inspire your love for radio, but maybe also for Telos Alliance as well?
Yes, indeed. I think I was 3 years old when I listened for the first time in my life to a broadcast processor, which was the Omnia 3, the very first Omnia in Romania. It belonged to a local radio station, Radio Dea, here in my hometown, Onești. Of course, at that age, I didn't exactly realize the power of Omnia, but definitely kept my ears and my eyes on that iconic Omnia design. That's why I wanted so much to buy Omnia 3 for my studio because I really wanted to have the same Omnia I had seen the first time in my life at Dea. Then Radio Dea bought Omnia 6, which meant a breathtaking sound for the listeners. I've even got some pictures from back then with that Omnia 6 at Radio Dea. So I owe a lot to my father for the opportunity, but also to Telos Alliance for the amazing products.
So the first time you used an Axia Element console, what was that experience like?
It was an awesome, unique experience since I was 11 years old only back then. Those years, my love for the radio was growing exponentially day by day, and I asked my father to take me to visit as many radio stations as possible to see their gear and compare them and their performance. Honestly, when I first saw the Axia Element console, I was speechless because it was the first digital console I had ever experienced with, and it was love at first sight because I really love that iconic Axia design and what it looks like, and that gunmetal gray color is my favorite color scheme for Element. That's why I wanted so much to have my own Axia Element console in gunmetal gray color. Also, I remember that I was shocked back then that I can play next on the automation playout directly from the console with GPIO commands. That was an unbelievable thing for me because I'd never seen anything like that before.
So moving into your teenage years, your dream of owning an Axia console continued. How did you stay involved with radio during these years, and what actions did you take towards making that dream a reality?
My father changed his workplace, moved to another national radio station with headquarters in Bucharest. It's the number one radio station across Romania, and they had just bought a new mixing console, and guess what? It was an Axia Element console in gunmetal gray color. I was so happy that I could be part of the installation process back then. I saw how the Element console was configured and implemented on their system, and of course, my love for Axia and Telos was skyrocketing. When I was 12 years old, I begged my dad to buy an FM license so I could have my own radio station called Dream FM. I have it even today here in my hometown on 92.2 FM. You can imagine how involved I am with radio because this radio station is like my own child. I must do everything for it. The cool thing is that I really enjoy doing 99% of the work, meaning playlists, radio production, traffic, website, iOS app, IT issues, even technical issues. I'm so glad that we have listeners from all across the globe, especially from the United States. You can listen to Dream FM online, especially from the Dream FM app from the App Store.
So moving into 2020, you had finally saved up enough money to buy the console of your dreams, the Axia Element. How exciting was that?
It was super exciting, especially because everything was a secret. Absolutely no one knew that I was working somewhere and what I was going to do with the money earned. The most exciting part was when my father entered in my room and saw everything. Believe me, for at least 5 minutes, my father was completely speechless. He was just sitting here trying to make out what on the earth was happening in my room. It was October 26, 2020. My father had just came home from Bucharest and I made this surprise to him. On that day, it was also his name day, Saint Dumitru, an Orthodox holiday, because my father's name is Dumitru Paunescu. It was a magnificent, extraordinary, and unique moment in my life which I will never forget. I think it is the greatest achievement moment in my entire life. Like my father said, not many big radio networks have this kind of gear, and there it was. I had it in my room. I wanted so much to keep this moment, and I recorded it without my father knowing it, because I really wanted to capture that face of my father when he entered in my room. I love that video. Even my friend Frank Forti saw that video recording and he understood and appreciated that moment. You may be asking how I managed to keep everything hidden from my father. Well, I managed to keep everything hidden from my father because every time I received a parcel with my gear, I immediately put it in my godmother's basement. So I kept everything there for 5 months until I managed to pay the last payment for my Axia console. Then I received a pallet with my Axia gear and I installed everything in a couple of days because I had already prepared almost everything for the installation. A lot of my colleagues from McDonald's in Coventry told me that I was crazy saving so much money to buy some gear. But in fact, I'm not crazy at all investing in my own passion. So owning the Axia Element is a huge achievement. It makes me proud, excited and happy with what I'm doing in the radio industry.
Wow, that's awesome that you have such a commitment to investing in your passion, and what a secret to keep from your dad for such a long time. That's great that you have that memory too, and you got it on video. So with the Axia Element console and some other key pieces, you built your own home studio at just 19, which is incredible. What other key pieces of equipment are you using to run that studio?
I'm using Omnia 6, Omnia 3, a Cisco switch for the Livewire network connectivity, a Mica mic arm with Electro Voice RE27ND broadcast microphone, a computer machine which runs the Axia IP audio driver which works perfectly with Zeta. I love that I control everything I want on Zeta directly from the Element console with GPIO commands. So that's it. This is my magical wand.
So what has your overall experience been like owning this studio in your own home?
It's still a great experience even today. I really enjoyed building and configuring everything. You know what? It actually took me a very small amount of time to configure the Axia network, which is amazing. Like you said, not a lot of people my age are doing this kind of stuff, but I can't help it. It's almost addictive, so to say. It's sheer passion, and of course, you need some skills and high-tech equipment. But it's worth the money and the time because it is so rewarding to do what you like and to be appreciated for the good job you are doing.
Absolutely. So any plans for the future for you?
Well, you know, when you start working out of passion, it never stops. Now I have to finish my computer science degree, so one more year at university, and then I would like to work with a team of passionate people. Who knows, maybe one day we will be colleagues at Telos Alliance. I would be honored to.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. And again, appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and again, congrats on your home studio. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.